The global trading system under the World Trade Organization is facing growing strain as the United States increasingly imposes tariffs and negotiates bilateral trade deals outside agreed multilateral rules. Trade experts warn that these actions undermine the WTO's core principles of non-discrimination and consensus decision-making, leaving weaker economies, particularly in Africa, exposed to unfair trade pressure.
The second pillar relates to the coercive bilateral deals, where they are really trying to extract, basically through extortion, investment, defense purchases, economic security alignment in exchange for tariff relief that still leaves the rates historically high. So for instance, yesterday's big news was that India has just finalized their deal with the US, and so I was hoping to see some kind of reciprocity in that deal, but the tariffs are still, US gives, India gives the US 0%, and I think India has agreed to 17%, if I'm not mistaken, on some lines. So the big question here is whether and how is the US defining reciprocity to be?
Now, civil society groups are urging African countries to have their long-standing trade concerns respected at the World Trade Organization Ministerial Conference scheduled for March in Cameroon. They stress that any agreement must safeguard Africa's development priorities, ensure fairness in global trade, and uphold the principles of multilateralism. For the continent, they say a bad deal is far worse than no deal at all, and unity in negotiations is critical to avoid being sidelined by more powerful economies like the United States.
How does Africa come together and resist this bilateralization, what's supposed to be a multilateral system? How do we work it to our advantage? This is some of the critical questions that we are trying to address here. And we are here as a civil society organization for a number of countries, Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania, but also brought together some of our trade negotiators in Geneva to help us address these questions, and former ministers and ministers to help us address these questions. We hope that by the time we leave here in 2 days' time, we'll have got some strategic directions.
We need to influence what's going on in Geneva. We need to understand all these challenges between US and China and the EU affects us. As the saying goes, when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. But even when elephants make love, we suffer.
Rowan Habwe, NTV Business.